Yeah, so yeah. Let's start mga kapatid. So we are going to tackle about kinematics. Okay? So kinematics, we are going to discuss more on the big three. Okay? So ano ba yung big three? So yung big three, which is acceleration, distance, and time. Okay? So for this lesson, we are going to tackle this for competencies. So, or rather, three competencies. Okay, first, convert a verbal description of a physical situation involving uniform acceleration in one dimension into a mathematical description. Second, interpret velocity and displacement graph, okay, under velocity versus time and acceleration versus time curves. And then last, construct a velocity and acceleration time graph. Okay, so hindi lang po tayo magko-compute for this lesson. We're also going to represent a motion given a time graph. Okay, paano po natin i-representa yung paggalaw ng isang system gamit lang yung velocity and acceleration time graphs. Okay? So, first, bago tayo mag-deepen pa ng ating uh, discussion on motion and such. Okay, let's first define what kinematics is. So, kinematics is a branch of physics. So, it is under mechanics. Okay, so it study more on motion and how an object moves from one place to another. Okay, so it came from the Greek word kinema. Okay, kinema, which means movement. Okay, so sa kinematics, meron po tayong mga words or mga terms na laging mababanggit. Okay? Since we are talking about kinematics across one dimension, so ibig sabihin flat lang siya. It's either horizontal or vertical uh, motion. Okay? So since lagi namang horizontal, just like a car moving on a street, like a person walking on a street. So, lahat naman, lagi naman ng dinadaanan ng isang object under motion is across horizontal axis. So, we denotate the position in terms of x. So, okay? So, the position is defined or it represents where you are located ko. So, kung nasaan ka at a specific time. Okay? So, yun yung position. Next, we have distance and displacement. Okay? Mamaya i-discuss natin ano ba yung pinagkaiba ni distance tsaka ni displacement. Okay? So, this is distance denotated by small letter d. So, it tells how far you have traveled regardless of your direction. Okay? So, that is the distance. While displacement, x. Okay? It is where you are in relation to where you have started. Okay? So what is the difference between distance and displacement? So distance is a scalar quantity. Okay? It just measures how far you have traveled. Okay? While displacement is uh, a vector quantity. Okay? Take note. Displacement is a vector quantity. So it is the relation of where you are with respect to how you have started your movement. Okay, so si displacement, nagbibigay po ito ng representation ng direction. Okay, and then last time. Okay, ito yung gaano kakatagal nag-undergo ng motion. Okay, so first, let's define or let's broaden up displacement. So, sabi natin si displacement is a vector quantity. So, ito po yung sukat ng or layo ng tinahak mo. Okay? Displacement occurs when something moves from here to there. Okay? For example, in diagram A, we have a ball starting from origin. Okay? Basically, sa kinematics, kapag sinabi nating origin, it is from the starting point or at the zero position. Okay? So, and then, upon some circumstances or under some circumstances, the ball moves from zero to 3. Okay? Based from our description of distance and displacement. So what is the distance of the ball? Um, uh, Blue. Okay? Blue, what is the distance of the ball? Displacement versus distance. Okay? So tama. Kapag tinanong ka dito sa given situation na to, what is the distance of the ball? So pwede mong sabihin 3 meters. Okay? So yung ball mo nagtahak ng 3 meters from the starting origin or the starting point. Okay? When we are when you are asked about the displacement, medyo may konting difference na dun sa magiging sagot mo. Bakit? Kasi si distance ay yung sukat lang. Si displacement ay yung sukat na may kasamang direction. Okay? So kapag tinanong ka, ano yung displacement ni ball? So ang isasagot mo dapat, or ang isasagot nyo dapat mga kapatid, is the ball moves 3 meters to the right, or the ball moves 3 meters to the east kasi ay from towards the uh, positive x-axis. Okay, nakuha ba mga kapatid kung ano yung pinagkaiba ni distance at saka ni displacement? Okay? Okay, distance is a scalar quantity while displacement is a vector quantity. Okay? So, for example, sige, isa pang example. Yung, si ano daw, si Marlon, yan. Si Marlon, ayaw, yan. Hindi kita example lang, example. Bakit? Yan, example lang natin si Marlon. Si Marlon, pinabili siya ng suka ng nanay niya. Ayaw Marlon, ayaw mag-draw. Ayaw mo ata magpagamit as example. Teka lang, ba't ganon? Kailangan mo pa naman mag-draw. Yan. Okay. Si Marlon, pinabili ng suwaan ng nanay niya. So, from origin, sa bahay nila, or ito yung origin yung bahay nila. Si Marlon, lumakad papunta dun sa tindahan na 10 meters yung layo mula dun sa bahay niya. Tapos, ah, nakita niya sila Mr. Enrile nag nag ko-computer. Yan. Nakita niya sila Mr. Enrile pagbalik niya dun sa bahay niya. So sila Mr. Enrile, point B. Simula dun sa tindahan, point A, ay 2 meters yung layo. So napatigil na siya doon. Napatigil si Marlon. So based dito sa situation na to, gaano kalayo or ano yung distance na nilakad ni Marlon sa pagbili niya lang ng suka? Ariana Kamatoy. Yan. Ano yung distance na tinravel ni Marlon sa pagbili niya ng suka?
10 meters po.
At pagbalik niya sa bahay, pagbalik niya sa bahay, nakita niya sila, Mr. Enrile. Gaano kalayo yung nilakad ni Marlon? Very good. So, 12 meters. So, pag tinanong kung ano yung distance na tinravel ni Marlon from his house, pagbili ng suka, tapos nung nakasalubong niya sila Mr. Enrile, is 12 meters kasi 10 plus 2. How about the displacement na kinover ni Marlon? Okay? Ano naman yung total displacement na kinover ni Marlon? Okay? So yung total displacement dito mga kapatid, kapag sinabi nating displacement is yung distance niya with relation dun sa direction na tinahak niya. So since si Marlon from his house, point O to point A, dun sa tindahan, 10 meters, tapos bumalik siya mula sa tindahan, at nakasalubong niya sila Mr. Enrile, kaya hindi siya nakabalik dun sa bahay nila, 2 meters from the from the sari-sari store. So, yung total displacement dito ay 8 meters. Kasi yung tinatawag nating displacement or yung sinasabi nating displacement is the vector quantity nung ah, distance na tinahak ni Marlon. So, kasi dito, from 10 meters to the right and 2 meters to the left, they are in opposite direction. So, when we are talking about the displacement, kailangan maging factor or kailangan nating i-consider yung direction ng ating mga physical quantities. So, the distance, okay, distance, distance D, hindi pala siya 8, yung distance D is 12 meters kasi regardless of its direction. While the position X is 8 meters to the east. Okay? Kasi greater yung 10 meters. So, review lang ito nung last na lesson natin. Okay? Okay? So, next, we move to velocity. Okay? So, what is your, uh, how do you define velocity? Miss PB Caparas. What is velocity? Velocity is the rate of change in distance or displacement over a given time. So, given this equation, so yung equation na to, velocity is the change in displacement over a given time. Okay? So, when calculating the velocity, v over t, so, yung triangle dito sa unahan ng ating d or x function or position function is what we call the delta. Okay? So, yung delta is a Greek representation ng change. Okay? So, delta x. So, kapag nakakita po tayo ng delta, it means the change in a physical quantity. So, kapag hinahanap na natin yung average velocity or average x velocity on a straight line motion, v is equals to the final position or x2 minus x1 over t2 minus t1 or delta x over delta t. So velocity, as we define it, it is the change in position over a given time. Okay? So, kapag narinig natin sa velocity, ang una din pumapasok sa isip natin is speed. Okay? So, what is the difference between speed and velocity? So, medyo nagkakaroon tayo ng misconception na, ay, si speed, si velocity din po yan. Pareho lang sila. Pero may pagkakaiba si speed at saka si velocity. So, what is the difference between speed and velocity? So, very good. So, the difference between speed and velocity is speed is a scalar quantity. So, it just measure the amount of distance traveled over a given period of time. So it is just a numerical quantity. Okay? So while velocity is the speed with direction. Okay? For example, um, our speed v is equals to 20 meters per hour. Okay? So this representation or this expression is just speed kasi wala po tayong direction. So um, while for this representation, for this example, v is equals to 20 meters per hour are at 15 degrees south of west. So, nagkaroon na po tayo ng 15 degrees south of west. So, hindi na po speed ang tawag natin dyan. Kahit meron pa po tayong numerical representation. So, it is defined or it is called as velocity. Okay? So, alamin po natin lagi ang difference ni speed at saka ni velocity. Okay? So, si speed, regardless of the direction, kahit hindi po natin siya i-represent. Kapag ka naman sa velocity, kailangan, so, meron po siyang direction. Okay? Since it is a vector quantity. Okay, so let's move on to acceleration. So how about acceleration? What is the difference between velocity? How about velocity and acceleration? So speed is the rate of change of direction with respect to time, while acceleration is the change of velocity with respect to change in time. So dito, kay acceleration, mini-measure natin kung gaano nagbago si velocity in a given period of time. Okay? So acceleration is how fast you speed up or slow down or change in direction. So it is the rate at which velocity changes. Okay? So in fact, na mayroon ding direction si acceleration. Okay? So, kaya na-consider natin siyang vector quantity. Also, meron po tayong term na deceleration, di ba? So, deceleration and acceleration. So, kapag deceleration, ibig sabihin, kapag acceleration, bumibilis yung velocity. Kapag deceleration, bumabagal yung rate of change ni velocity. Okay? Ang sinasabi kasi dito, yung pinaka-focus natin is yung pagbabago ng velocity. And velocity is a vector quantity. That's why acceleration is also a vector quantity. Okay? So for example, in this table, so a system is under uh, a motion. Okay? So nag-vary daw from 0 second to 3 seconds. Okay? Nagbabago daw yung system natin. Okay? So, unknown system natin. So, so 0 second, 55 meters per hour. After 1 second, naging 57. After 2 seconds, naging 59. After 3 seconds, naging 61. Okay? So, increasing yung value natin of our velocity. Okay? Kapag nag-vary yung value ng velocity natin, kapag increasing siya, ibig sabihin, meron tayong acceleration. How about if decreasing ang velocity natin? Doon naman papasok si deceleration. Okay? Although hindi natin ginagamit na D as deceleration kasi di ba mostly kung ano yung umpisang letter nung factor or nung quantity yung ginagamit natin, eh malilito tayo with distance and deceleration. So, kapag ka po tayo ay nag-express ng deceleration, ninenegate na lang po natin yung, uh, sorry, ninenegate na lang po natin yung quantity or yung value. So, ibig sabihin, pag negative acceleration, it decreases the amount of its velocity over a period of time. Okay? So, yun po. So, we have formulas to remember when we are calculating problems under motion or problems on kinematics. So, we have 5 um, formulas. So, VF stands for the final velocity. Okay, V naught, VO. So, pwede nyo din pong gamitin is VI kung saan po kayo masanay. Okay, VO or V naught is the initial velocity. Okay, so next we have A. So, A is for acceleration. Okay, and then T is for time. Okay, what else? Say X is the position. Yeah. So, ito po yung mga ibig sabihin nung nandito sa formula nito. Okay? So, this formula number 1, if we are going to find the final velocity, so pwede po natin gamitin itong formula ito. Vf is equals to V naught plus AP. Next, equation number 2, this is for computing the average, okay? Average velocity, okay? Okay, V bar. Okay, may bar po yun sa taas. Is equals to V naught plus VF all over 2. Okay, average velocity. Okay, next we have equation number 3, deposition formula. Okay, this delta x means xf minus xi, or the change in position, okay, or change in displacement, and then equal po dito sa value na to. Okay, so this is for the position formula. Okay, then last, another formula, equation number 4 for finding the final, okay, velocity, Vx squared minus V naught squared is equals to 2a, delta x for xf minus xi. Okay? So, ito lang. Yung mga equation na tatandaan nyo when we are talking about or discussing kinematics. So, yeah. So, paano mas ma-utilize natin itong mga formulas na to? Gamitin natin siya in solving this problem. Okay? So, a car is traveling at a constant speed of 25 meters per second. Okay? Let's write this in this part we given. Okay? Yung velocity din natin ay constant. Okay? Since constant po siya from starting point and to the given distance in time, uh, 25 meters per second yung velocity niya. Okay? So, it begins to accelerate at a rate of, okay? So, yung acceleration niya daw ay 2.7 meters per second square. Okay? For 7.1 seconds. Okay? So, loob daw ng 7.1 seconds. Okay? How far does it travel during this period of time? So, sa question number 1, sa question A, ang hinahanap po natin ay how far uh, or gaano kalayo yung tinravel ng ating car uh, given yung t na 7.1 seconds. Okay? And then question number 2, or question B, what is the final speed after 7.1 seconds. Okay? So let's try solving for the unknowns. Okay. First, uh, dun tayo kay x, okay, or the position. So what equation yung pinaka-best na gamitin for finding the position unknown, the unknown position, Lance? Anong equation yung pwede natin gamitin? Lance? Si Daryl na lang. Na-intriga ako sa Dolomites. Meron pa ba sila dyan?
Ano po? Yung
Sige.
equation number 3 po.
Okay, so equation number
Yung pong
3 yung pwede natin gamitin. Okay, alin po yun? Ano yun? Daryl?
yung pong delta x is equals to initial velocity multiplied by time plus 1/2 of acceleration multiplied by time squared.
Okay, very good. So ito po yung una natin pwedeng gamitin na formula. Okay, delta x is equals to VOT or V naught time plus 1/2 AT squared. Okay? So, let's key in yung mga answers natin. So, dito sa delta x, sabi natin, delta x is xf minus xi is equals to VOT plus 1/2 AT squared. Okay? So, since hindi po dito sinabi na may starting point si body or si system, si car. So, si xi natin, gawin na lang po natin siya 0. Okay? So, xf is equals to VOT plus 1/2 AT squared. Okay? So, substitute natin yung mga givens natin. Our initial velocity is 25 meters per second. Multiply by the time, 7.1 plus 1/2 times 2.7 times 7.1 squared. Okay, so what would be the answer? Hannah, Lucy.
Wait lang po, kino-compute lang po.
Antayin natin.
Ma'am, ilang decimal places po?
4 decimal places, kapatid.
245.5535 meter per second po.
Okay, very good. 245.5535 meters per second. So, agreement na natin to, Tesla, kapag nagsosolve tayo ng problems sa kinematics, gamitin po natin ang or i-round off natin yung final answers natin into 4 decimal places. Okay? 245.5525 meters per second. So, don't forget the unit. So, very good. So, that is the position at the given time, which is 7.1 seconds. So, nasa 200 meters lang pala dapat to. Okay? Meters lang dapat siya kasi hinahanap natin ay position. Okay? Sorry. Hindi ko ma-delete. Yan, makamali to. Okay? 245.5535 meters. Okay, so, yan. Allow me to erase this part. Okay, let's move on to the second question, or second unknown. Okay, what is the final speed? Okay, hinahanap naman po natin ay VF at or after 7.1 seconds. Okay? So what would be the best formula to use for this unknown, Vince? Decan? Vince, ano po kayang equation yung pinakamagandang gamitin?
Formula 1 po.
Okay, Formula 1. Okay, very good. Thank you. VF is equals to VO plus AT or V naught plus AT. Okay, so substitute lang ulit natin yung given natin. Lagyan na natin dito. Okay, so yung initial velocity natin is 25 plus our acceleration is 2.7 multiply by 7.1. Okay? So, what would be the answer? Yan. 25 plus 2.7 plus 7.1. Kenneth. Mr. Kenneth.
Ma'am, 44.17
Okay.
00
Meters per second. 40,
meter per
1700 meters per second. So, don't forget, apat po na decimal places. Okay, lagyan natin ng decimal. Okay, meters per second. So, yan lang po. So, hanap na po natin yung x after 7.1 seconds. So, yung tinravel ni car. So, after 7.1 seconds, nasa 245.5535 meters na siya. And then, ang velocity niya po after 7.1 seconds is 44.17 or 17 meters per second. Okay? So, do you have any questions, Tesla? Clarifications. So, tandaan lang po natin ito, mga equation na to. So, itong apat na equation. Kapag ka medyo naalala na natin sila, so, it's a long way. Masosolve na po natin yung kinematics. Okay? So, let's try this one. So, you try the second problem for 5 minutes. Try nyo lang sagutan. Okay, a motorcycle's heading east through a small tank accelerates at a constant 4 meters per second squared. Okay? After he leaves the city limits. At time, he is 5 meters east of the city limits signpost, moving east at 15 meters per second. Okay? Yung first daw, find his position in velocity at t 2 second, and where is he when the velocity is 25 meters per second. Okay? So, try nyo pong sagutan using the formula I have given you. Okay? So, traditional way, um, let's okay, traditional way, let's write what is given or what is asked. Kung ano po ba yun? Sulat natin kung ano yung given. Okay? So, given po tayo ng acceleration, 4.0 meters per second squared. Okay? Okay, and then x O is 5.0 meters, okay, at the time. And then moving to the east, 15 meters per second. Okay? Find the position sa A. Hinahanap po natin ay position and velocity at 2.0 seconds. And sa B ay velocity or position at 25 meters per second. Okay? So, yan. May sagot na po ba kayo? Okay? So, yan. So, let's solve this one. So, habang nagsosolve kayo, mag-solve na rin tayo. Okay? So, yan. Pero tuloy nyo lang yung pagsosolve. So, yung una nating tanong is position and velocity at a given uh, time. Okay? So, unahin muna natin si position. Okay? Dito, sa hinahanap sa A, ang hinahanap po natin ay instantaneous position. Or gawin na natin, instantaneous x, tsaka instantaneous na velocity. So, anong ibig sabihin natin na instantaneous? So, ibig sabihin po ng instantaneous is the value of the specific unknown, for this example, position and velocity at a given specific time. Okay? So, at 2 seconds, ano daw yung instantaneous position or ano daw yung exact position niya at ano yung exact velocity niya doon sa 2.0 seconds. So, instant. Ano yung instant position niya nung 2 seconds? Okay? Nung pag under motion. Okay? So, yun po yung ibig sabihin ni instantaneous. So, unahin po muna natin yung paghahanap dun sa instantaneous position. Okay? X, delta X. So, pwede natin gamitin itong equation number 3, delta X is equals to VOT plus 1/2 AT squared. Okay? So, expound lang ulit natin. Delta X is equals to XF plus XI, or sorry, XF minus XI is equals to VOT plus 1/2 AT squared. Okay? So, ang sinahanap natin is si XF or position at an instant time. Okay? So, pwedeng ang maging equation natin ay XF is equals to XI plus VOT plus 1/2 AT squared. Okay? So, ilagay na natin yung mga values nito. Ang XI natin for XO, initial position down at the time is 5.0 meters plus initial velocity is 15 multiplied by yung time natin, which is 2, plus 1/2. The acceleration is 4, 2 squared. So, what would be the answer? 5 meters plus 15 times 2 plus 1/2 times 4 times 2 squared. Okay? So, ano po yung naging sagot mo? From Aldrich. Aldrich, do you solve the answer?
43 meters po.
Very good. So, 43 meters. So, ayun po yung instantaneous position niya at 2 seconds. Okay? So, nakuha po ba yun? So, nakuha po ba kung bakit natin nilagay si 5 meters? Okay? So, since dito kasi, yung delta x natin is yung value ng delta x natin pag in-expound natin is final minus initial. Okay? Since ang hinahanap natin is at an instant time, okay? So, ibig sabihin meron siyang naunang position before the 2 second. At yung position na daw yun ay 5 meters east. Okay? So, ang magiging position niya ay 43 meters east. Okay? After 2 seconds. Okay? So, any questions regarding this one? Okay? Let's move on to the instantaneous velocity. Okay, at 2 seconds, what is the car or the motorcyclist's velocity? So, anong equation yung pwede natin gamitin? So, the equation na pwede natin gamitin is the equation number 1. VF is equals to V naught plus AT. Okay? Since ang hinahanap natin is position at a given time. Okay? At T is equals to 2 seconds. Okay? So, VF, okay, gawin na lang natin dito. So, yung VO natin, yung initial velocity is 15. Okay? So, plus our given acceleration is 4 multiplied by the times 2. Okay? So, 15 okay, 15 plus 8. So, our velocity at 2 seconds is 23 meters per second. Okay? Any questions, mga kapatid? So, ang instantaneous position is at 43 meters at ang instantaneous velocity in 2 seconds is 23 meters per second. Okay? So, let's move on dun sa sunod nating unknown. Unknown na problem for question B. Okay? So, where is he when his velocity is 25 meters per second? So, position niya daw at a given finite velocity na 25 meters per second. So, ano yung pwede natin gamitin equation? So, pwede natin gamitin equation dito, equation number 4. Yung Vf squared minus V naught squared is equal to A delta x. Okay? So, ang tatandaan nyo pa, ayan sa equation 4. So, hinahanap lang natin dito is position at dun sa 25 meters per second. So, ibig sabihin, C, final position. Kasi hindi naman siya pwede maging initial position. Kasi alam natin na after pa siya nito, ng 15 meters per second. Okay? So, i-rearrange natin yung equation natin para ang mahanap natin yung unknown na xf. So, kapag ni-rearrange natin yung equation natin, xf is equals to xi plus vf squared minus vi squared over 2a. So, kapag ni-rearrange na po yan, so, ginamitan natin ang konting algebra. So, para makuha natin yung xf, yung position at 25 meters per second, pwede po natin gamitin itong equation ito, xi plus vf squared minus vi squared over 2a. So, substitute po natin yung mga unknowns natin. So, initial position niya po ay 5 meters, okay, plus final velocity, 25 squared, plus yung initial velocity na 15 squared, over 2 times our acceleration na 4. So, what would be the answer? Karine, Bernice, Shar. Ano po yung sagot? So, where is the
55 po.
is at 25 meters per second? Again?
55 po.
Okay, very good. Thank you. 55 meters. So, yun po. Yun lang yung pagsasolve nito, mga unknowns nito under this situation. Okay? Do you have any questions? Tesla. So, tingnan natin. Ay, sorry. Dito sa yung sa 15 ay minus pala. My fault. Kasi ay delta nga pala. Okay? 25 minus. Yan. Mali lang yung lagay. Okay? So, yan. So, let's move on to the graphing part. So, meron daw tayong given situation dito sa left part. Okay? A. So, yung line A, if an object or system under one-dimensional motion, if you start at home, so you start at the origin and then slowly goes forward. So, ang representation po ng motion ng A situation or situation A is like this one. Okay? Kapag naman po ang isang system natin or isang object ay hindi gumagalaw, so walang motion, not moving, so ang representation niya po sa graph is a straight line. Kapag naman po siya ay towards the neg or the opposite direction, so siya naman po ay downwards ang representation sa graph. Okay? Okay, for this one, sa acceleration naman, so A starts from the south. So, ito yung origin natin. So, yung south niya dun sa negative part, increasing gradually past home. So, yung origin. And then, still not moving or still moving. Tapos dito, nung na-reach na daw yung point na to, ito po yung nagsasabi na slow to a stop. So, kapag ka nagkaroon tayo ng straight line, ibig sabihin nun, yun yung to stop. Okay? Sa C, turn around. So, nagbiglang liko daw po siya. And then, heading to south. Okay? Then, after continually heading south, tapos pabagal naman from the starting point. Okay? So, ang pinagkaiba ni graphing with velocity, this one, kapag velocity, straight line. Kapag sa acceleration, curved motion. Okay? Yung representation. Okay. So, dito, paano natin malalaman kung yung velocity is increasing or decreasing or positive or negative? Kapag positive yung slope niya, yung rise over run, positive din si velocity. So, pag pataas yung direction. Pag naman pababa, yung, or negative yung slope natin, rise over run, negative si velocity. Kapag wala po tayong slope, so kapag ka po siya ay purely horizontal and purely vertical, zero si velocity. So, sa steepness naman ng curve natin, kapag steep po yung slope natin, fast yung speed. Kapag gentle yung steep, slow. Kapag flat naman ay zero. Okay? So, yung blue line po dito, sa position time graph, kapag pataas po siya, increasing. Okay? Increasing si acceleration, increasing din si velocity. Kapag ka naman pababa, the red line, okay? Negative direction, so decreasing. So, sa increase naman sa concavity, okay? Gaano ba nagka-curve yung ating concave sa acceleration time graph? Okay, kapag ka-concave up, yung blue, ibig sabihin positive acceleration. Kapag concave down, negative acceleration. So, deceleration po yung nangyayari sa situation or sa body po ng under motion. Okay? So, ito lang pinagsama-samang mga graph na pwede natin gawin kapag nagre-represent ng motion. Okay? So, for this week, ang activity nyo po ay i-upload ko po sa Google Classroom. So, hindi nyo na po gagawin yung problem set sa module kasi nung nire-check ko siya, meron pala dong calculus and I have to i-review ulit yung calculus sa inyo. So, wag na lang muna ngayon kasi kulang yung oras natin. So, I would be giving you another worksheet. So, mag-re-upload po ako. Gamitin nyo lang po yung module as reviewer. Pero hindi nyo po sasagutan yung mga problems doon kasi baka awayin nyo ako kasi may calculus na agad, ang hirap. So, medyo pinadali po natin yung buhay nyo. Kaya mag-upload po ako ng isang worksheet para sa linggong ito. Okay? So, it includes using for the four formulas for kinematics and graphing of motion or a system under motion. Okay? Deadline po ng ating worksheets again, mindset na po natin ay Monday. Okay? So, wala na po tayong tanong. Wala na. So, kung wala na po kayong tanong, pwede na po kayo mag-take ng break. I hope magiging ligtas po kayo sa araw na ito. Stay dry but stay hydrated mga kapatid. Okay, goodbye and thank you. Have a blessed day.